What to do, my people? Welcome back to the Power Ranking series where all summer we're going to be ranking the top transfer business. These were the power rankings from last week. At number 1, we had Bayern Munich. At 2, Madrid, City at 3, Dortmund, Villa, Spurs, Liverpool, and Inter Milan. But this week, so many deals were announced. And by the way, if you're new to this series, we are only considering deals that are announced officially by the clubs. Now, before we get into this week, I just want to remind you, hit the subscribe button if you're enjoying the series. If you want to be up to date with all transfer news throughout the whole summer, I would greatly appreciate it. Let's get into the honorable mentions for this week. Starting off with Liverpool, they drop out of the top 8. I still like Darwin Nunez, Fabio Carvalho, Calvin Ramsey. They've had a good window, but I think other teams have had better, especially this week. Now, I could also put Inter Milan in the honorable mentions category, which they probably should be, but I have a couple others I'm really excited about. Arsenal, my club. They don't get into my top 8. I still think they have a lot of business to do, but they're definitely an honorable mention now with Gabriel Jesus coming in. The last honorable mention I really do want to talk about is Southampton, man. Now, what I really like about their business is they have a clear philosophy, a clear strategy in how they're approaching the transfer market. They're going after younger players, talented players with a high potential, and not paying over the odds for them. And that's why I think it's good business. I think it's somewhat low risk, high reward. Joe Aribo coming in from Rangers. He's 25 years old. He had Rangers in the final of the Europa League. He played well that whole campaign. I think he's going to battle it out in the Premier League physically. He's going to fit into the Premier League. I like that signing for Southampton. Bazunu, the goalkeeper, coming in from City. You have Romeo Lavia, two City Academy graduates who I think will do well based on the history of Southampton and what they've done. Literally last season, bringing in Broja, bringing in Livramento, 2 Chelsea Academy graduates who hit the ground running. Now, I'm also really excited about Bella Kotchap. He's 20 years old. He's a very physically strong center back who's coming from Germany. He's already had a good amount of first team minutes under his belt at 20 years old. And it's a very intriguing signing because a lot of other clubs were in for him. To get those 4 players for £39 million, who I think will all have a big impact on that Southampton team and have all good potential to keep rising in value, is great business. Anyways, coming in at number 8 is Leeds United. They were an honorable mention last week, but this week they got a few more players in the door. So far they've signed Brendan Erison. They got Luis Sinisterra from Feyenoord for £22.5 million. Tyler Adams also comes in the door for around £15 million. You have Christensen, Mark Roca, and then they also signed a Man City Academy graduate in Darko Gyabi. I think that's how you pronounce it, for £5 million. They've already sold Calvin Phillips to City, so they do have some money coming in the door. But they are really investing into the squad, hoping to stay in the Premier League. Now, I like this business because they're signing young players, but also players that have a lot of experience under their belt already at this point in their careers. I don't think I've ever seen a Premier League club with 3 Americans in and around the first team with that much responsibility. I mean, Jesse March, Tyler Adams, and Brendan Aronson all will have a massive impact on how Leeds season will turn out. And it will just ameliorate the overall outlook on American football, American soccer, I guess, which is nice because the amount of shit I get as an American talking about footy. They're at number 8 for me. At number 7, who do I have? I have Tottenham at number 7. They dropped down 1 spot from 6th. They go to 7. Bergwijn has left the club for £28 million to Ajax, which I really like. I think Bergwijn was kind of not given the real opportunity at Tottenham over the past few years. Like, he was given an opportunity, but kind of not at the same time. And I think he's a quality player. I still think he's going to reach a very solid level. And going to Ajax excites me because they have such a good kind of system and structure that really kind of helps players fulfill their potential. I don't know. It just seems to be a club that you go to and you just kind of perform well. He's going to have a massive part to play in Ajax. He'll be in the Champions League. He's going to get a real run out. And I think Bergwijn is going to have a massive season at Ajax next year. Anyways, the other player coming into Tottenham is Longley. It's a win-win for Barca and Tottenham because his value will be up by the time he returns to Barca. At number 6, I have Barcelona. Barcelona finally making some moves this summer, and we kind of knew they were going to come in, but Frank Kessié and Christensen both officially announced by Barcelona, which are massive signings for the club given their financial situation. To get those 2 players on free transfers who will directly improve the quality and depth of the side is fantastic. Personally, I don't think Kessié and Christensen are going to absolutely come in and change the club, but it gives much needed depth and quality to that side. And given their financial constraints, I mean, for me, that's really good business. So they get number 6 for me. At number 5, Aston Villa. I still think they have had great business. They might stay here the whole series. Diego Carlos, Felipe Coutinho, and Boubacar Kamara on a free transfer. Woo! Bro, Diego Carlos specifically, their backline is going to be solid. I really like him. I think he's going to be great in the Premier League. Diego Carlos is no nonsense, bro. He runs through people. He challenges for the ball. He's not afraid. He's a fearless, crazy center back. I can't wait to see him in the Premier League. Diego Carlos is going to smash it. Now, this is where everything changes. At number 4, Real Madrid. The only change for Madrid from last week was Luka Jovic leaving on a free transfer to Fiorentina. The differentiator between Madrid, City, Dortmund, Munich is net spend for me right now. They've spent 72 million pounds net. They were at number 2 last week for me, so I like their business. But I just feel Bayern Munich have a better net spend. I mean, they've only spent net around 20 million pounds going out to bring in Sadio Mane, Ryan Gravenberch, Mazraoui. That's really good business, and they were actually our power ranking leaders for the past 2 weeks. The change here, Omar Richards going out, leaving to Nottingham Forest for around 7 million, which lowers the net spend, but they do drop a spot because for me, Manchester City move up to number 2 in the power rankings. The reason it is great business for me is Man City's net spend this summer is only 9.8 million pounds. After bringing in Haaland and Calvin Phillips for a combined almost 100 million pounds, City is just such a well-run football club. Yeah, they have all the money in the world to build it, which not all clubs have that luxury to go get the best executives in the world, but you can't deny now that they have those executives, it's such a well-run club. Anyways, at number 1 is Borussia Dortmund. So far this summer, with Sebastian Haller coming in, they've had the best transfer window thus far. Sebastian Haller confirms that. They've only spent 22.5 million pounds net, but they've brought in Sebastian Haller, Adeyemi, Schlotterbeck, Özcan, Sule, Jaden Braff on a free transfer from City to bring in that much quality. 5 players who will directly come into the first team and improve it. And on top of that, to get it done this early in the transfer window is spectacular. And I have to be real, they were at number 4 last week, but Sebastian Haller coming in specifically raises them to number 1. Anyways, those are my top 8, and I will catch you next week.